Today on Hands On Photography, I get some emails from you folks quite regularly, and boy, I always appreciate that. Well, today I have two emails that I want to discuss, and there's a bit of a same theme with them. We're going to talk about a piece of hardware that you're going to need in your photography world or videography world, and quite frankly, I need you to spend a little bit of money. Don't cheap out on this. All right, y'all stay tuned.
This is TWiT.
This episode of Hands On Photography is brought to you by Hover. Whether you're a developer, photographer, or small business, Hover has something for you to expand your projects and get the visibility you want. Go to hover.com/twit to get 10% off your first purchase of any domain extension for the entire first year. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Pruitt, and this is Hands On Photography here on TWiT TV. Hope y'all are doing well. I am unbelievable as always. Today, I am going to go through some of your email feedback because that's what I like to do. I like to share different tips and tricks that's going to help make you a better photographer and a better post processor. But I also like to check out some of your feedback that can help you out as well. So before we get into that, I want to say welcome to all of our brand new listeners and brand new subscribers. Thank you for hopping on in here and checking out the show. Go ahead and continue to share the show out with other folks to help grow this hands-on photography community. We are available on all of the podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify and whatever the heck Google is using. You can see all of that information over on our website, twit.tv/hop. That's twit.tv/HOP. for hands-on photography. All description options are there, as well as our YouTube channel is there as well. So you can subscribe on YouTube and give us a like over there as well. All right. So now let's go ahead and get into this week's show without further ado. So I'm going to pull up the first email, and this one comes from Andrew. And it says, "Hi, Ant. I'm a regular listener since day one and also a Club TWiT member." Woo! Thank you so much for that. From day one and a Club TWiT member. Thank you so much for that. Since almost the beginning of that too. Hoping you can help me by recommending a tripod and iPhone attachment device other than the small Joby GorillaPod. I am planning to use my iPhone to film and broadcast events. I do have a gimbal that I use with a tripod attachment on it, but I use the gimbal on an extension for my wheelchair. I'm looking for a tripod that stands up on its own, almost a setup and forget type of thing. I also need it to be portable, foldable, so it's easy to travel with. I'm looking forward to hearing your recommendation. And P.S., you can use this question on the show if you feel other listeners/watchers will benefit from the answer. Of course I do. Thank you so much for that, sir. What's funny is I got your email and then another one came in right after that one. So let me see. I'll pull that one up here too, because I think you're going to sense a theme, folks. This one comes from Adam, and it reads, "Hello, Ant. I have a question for you. So maybe you'd be able to point me in the right direction. I just got me a Sigma 150 to 600 millimeter zoom lens. Whoo, I know that lens, and it is awesome. I have only one tripod, so I tried to use my lens on it and ended up having my camera and lens fall to the ground. Yikes. Thankfully, my lens is still in perfect condition, but my camera took a beating and ended up having to get it fixed. I'm using a Canon EOS Rebel T6i. I know that camera. Love it. That I have had for 4 years now. I'm looking for some recommendations on some tripods that will hold my lens securely. I'm just learning how to use this lens, so I've had my camera settings on AV or automatic until I get comfortable with it. I've only gotten to use it about 3 times since I got my camera back from being repaired. Here are some pictures that I've taken with my camera and my new lens. Feel free to show them on the show." All right. So yeah, he sent in these photos. They're quite cool. And there's some little birds. Look like, I don't know what these birds are, but they're all out in the water. They're very pretty, and you definitely need a long lens to get this type of framing on them. So nicely done, Mr. Adam. Sorry to hear about your tripod falling over and your camera taking a beating. That's Boy, that makes my heart sink a little bit. Sorry about that. But yeah, today's topic is tripods. So I've spoken about tripods before on the network, not necessarily on Hop, but on other shows here on TWiT TV. And folks, there's one dadgum rule about tripods that I try to preach to people that ask me. And that rule is buy once. just buy a tripod one time. Because if you just start buying cheap, you're going to be buying several tripods over an extended amount of time. And it ends up just being the same amount of money spent on just buying a good one for one time. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right. For example, if you go to, say, the Walmarts of the world, Walmart's going to have photography tripods in there, and they'll even have some with video heads on them and so forth. And yeah, they'll work. They're fine. And those things will cost you roughly $30 to $40 US. Okay. But those are not going to last. They will not take a beating. The legs are going to get flimsy on them. And for the most part, if you're doing something like long exposures, you're going to get camera shake because they're not really sturdy. They're just good enough to hold a camera up on them so you don't have to touch them. But as far as the long game on them, I cannot recommend them. So I've always told people, if you're going to buy a tripod, try to spend at the very least $60, at least that. And even that's pushing it. You know, you can go to Amazon.com and just search for tripods, and you're going to get a ton of them in there from Amazon Basics. Don't buy them. You'll see a bunch of weird name brands that may look okay. If it's under that $60 range, don't even waste your time with it. Some of my recommendations for tripods include the folks at K&F. They're usually more on the less expensive side, but they also have pretty good quality. K&F Concepts, I believe. They have a bunch of them in there. They even have some that are good for doing top-down shots where they give you extension tubes and things like that. And they work really well. I've played with a couple of them. I don't own them anymore, but they were totally fine and serviceable. Now, granted, they're not going to be able to work in extreme conditions, like if you're out and about on a hike or something like that, and salt water and things like that. I wouldn't recommend them. You need something that's going to be able to take a bit more of a beating, and that's just not that price point. If you want to start getting into something that's really just going to last, you have to consider a couple different classifications of tripods. You have your travel tripods and you have your studio tripods. The travel tripods are usually something that's a little bit more lightweight, but the ones that are really, really good are lightweight and made of some pretty expensive materials like aluminum or carbon fiber. So that means the price is going to go up. So they're going to remain to be something light that you can pack around and it not necessarily kill your back while you're carrying it, but they're also able to take a beating. Peak Design has one that's really, really popular, but it's expensive. It's quite pricey. Their travel tripod is quite pricey. Then you have the likes of Benro, Benro, have a bunch of different tripod options. Personally, I like to stick with the folks at Manfrotto or Benro. Just because of the price point. They've been around forever and their quality stands up. You know, the tripod that I'm looking at right now that's holding my camera to shoot this is a Benro tripod. My day-to-day tripod for shooting photography is a Manfrotto tripod. It's not a travel tripod. It's a studio beefy, sturdy tripod, but I actually use it for travel. I carry it with me when I go out on photo walks and things like that because I know it's going to stand up to being knocked over and things like that. I've had it at the beach and salt water has gotten on it. I had to clean it out and put it back together and it's been totally fine. Like nothing ever happened to it. But I paid a little bit more for that tripod because I didn't want to keep buying tripods. That particular tripod, I think mine is a 190X or something like that from Manfrotto. Highly recommend it. Most people don't want it because it's quote unquote heavy. Well, to each his own. I'd much rather have that heavier one that's going to take a beating that I don't have to worry about it. And I've had that tripod for years. This episode of Hands On Photography is brought to you by Hover. Yo, it's time to make plans and let Hover help you achieve them. If you're a blogger, creating a portfolio, or just trying to build an online store, or heck, even just trying to get a more memorable redirect to your LinkedIn page because you're trying to get hired, Hover has the best domain names and email addresses just for you. Now look, stop using your name at yahoo.com for email addresses or your name at AOL.com. Please stop doing that, folks. That's not professional. Email at your domain name is key to connecting with customers and building trust for your brand. It's way more professional. Now look, Hover has domain-based emails for all your needs, small or large. It's so easy to set up. You can just add as many mailboxes to your domain as you need. And when your domain renews, all of those mailboxes will renew too. The prices are unbeatable, really, really inexpensive. Their most popular mailbox is a no-brainer solution for business owners. Look, get access to your email anywhere. Just use whatever email app you're used to using, or just go to a browser and use their webmail and you can still get access to your email. I totally dig what Hover is doing because they make getting a domain so daggum easy and cost effective. I've been searching around for a couple of different domains and there's so many out there for me to choose from. Just got to figure out which one is going to be the best fit for my brand. Now look, Hover isn't here to upsell you on stuff that you don't need. They just want to help you out. They have pro level tools. They got powerful domain and email management tools that are intuitive and they're easy to use, whether you're a web pro or just getting started with this stuff. Private and secure. Yes, with WHOIS privacy protection included in your domain purchase, your private information will remain just that, private. It's just a great way to reduce spam and protect yourself from unwanted solicitations. Hover Connect lets you pick the service you want to use to build and host your website. Connect helps you start using your domain name with just a couple of clicks. At Hover, you're a customer, not a source of data. Take back control of your data with reliable, tracker-free email. Hover is trusted by hundreds of thousands of customers who use their domain names and email to turn their ideas into a reality. You should be next. Whether you're a developer, photographer, or small business, Hover has something for you to expand your projects and get the visibility you want. Go to hover.com/twit to get 10% off your first purchase of any domain extension for the entire first year. That's hover.com/twit for 10% off your domain extension for a full year. And we thank Hover for their support of my show and for supporting all of us here at TWiT. Now, the previous emailer was asking about something more so for the mobile phone. Movo is something that I've used in the past, and they have this little device called the PR1, and it attaches to your smartphones. But what I like about it, it uses a bit of a ratcheting mechanism, so you can tighten down on the smartphone and not necessarily just use some type of spring clamp. This way, you know your smartphone is going to be secure. And the bottom of it has a 1/4-20 thread on it, so you can attach a tripod plate to the bottom of it, such as like an Arca Swiss type, which is a pretty common standard for tripod plates, and then attach it to any standard tripod that you want. With that, I would take the Movo PR1 and pair it up with one of these Benro tripods that are out there. They have a bunch of them. I'm going to put some links in the show notes. There's so many different ones that are offered, but Benro tends to be the way that I would lean when it comes to doing mobile photography or on the go, because they have travel tripods, they have studio tripods, but their travel tripods tend to be at a lower price point than the likes of a Manfrotto, but they're not skimping out on the quality. So I will stick a few models in the show notes. I don't know them right off the top of my head, but I'll stick them in the show notes, and there'll be affiliate links, of course, to help support the show, and you can check those out there. But again, think about spending at least $60 if you're just trying to buy a tripod quickly, folks. But I more so recommend spend about $100 right out the gate. You're going to get much better quality with those tripods that are going to be mobile, take a beating, and be around for several years for you to use down the road. Okay. All right. So that is going to do it for this week's episode. I hope that's been quite helpful. Thank you for sending in those emails. As I've said before, you can always send your feedback, comments, image critiques, because I can't speak today, or questions. Just send those emails to hop@twit.tv, just as these two gentlemen did. Again, that's hop@twit.tv, and I try to answer them as soon as I can. I get quite a few emails in there, so I have a bit of a queue built up sometimes. And if you have images that you would like mentioned on the show, or have no problem mentioned on the show, make sure you say that in the email. I don't want to just show your images in the show without your consent. And honestly, I don't even want to pull up your email like these gentlemen without your consent as well. So thank you all so much for continuing to support the show and continuing to write in. Go ahead and do me a favor and follow me over on Instagram. I am ant_Pruitt on Instagram. Let's get that follower number up over there. I really do appreciate that. And continue to tell folks about the show. twit.tv/HOP for hands-on photography. And if you're able to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, it does help. I've gotten a few reviews in here recently that were just so kind and warm my heart. I really do appreciate that, y'all. Shout out to my man, Mr. Victor, for making me look and sound good each and every week. And yeah, that's it. I will talk to y'all next week here on the network. Continue to like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And safely create and dominate. Y'all take care.
Listeners of this program get an ad-free version if they're members of Club TWiT. $7 a month gives you ad-free versions of all of our shows, plus membership in the Club TWiT Discord, a great clubhouse for TWiT listeners. And finally, the TWiT Plus feed with shows like Stacy's Book Club, The Untitled Linux Show, The Giz Fizz, and more. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit. And thanks for your support.